Stock market returns are never guaranteed. But why we do the analysis then? Proper research gives us an edge, but the risk management cannot be ignored. Welcome back to DK Global Market Insights. This is your weekly guide to price action, macro themes, and technical setups on S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100. Market snapshot, major indices. S&P 500 closed the week down 0.31%. Nasdaq 100 was down 0.38%. Dow Jones Industrial Average saw a larger correction of 1.02%. Russell 2000 Index stood out with a rise of 0.39%. Global markets recap. UK's FTSE 100 was up by 1.34%. Germany's DAX was up by 1.97%, while Japan's Nikkei 225 was down by 0.61%. Hang Seng was up by 0.93%. China 50 was nearly flat, was up by 0.2%. India's Nifty 50 declined by 1.22%. Sentiments, volatility, and market breadth. Fear and greed index now reads 75. It is in the extreme greed zone, slightly lower from 78 last week. Volatility index, that is VIX, rose marginally by 0.12%, but is down significantly from April highs of nearly 52 to around 16 now, reflecting current stability with low volatility. Put call ratio 5-day average for S&P 500 is at 0.64, showing continued risk on sentiment. Market width remains mixed, but momentum is intact. S&P 500 is comfortably trading above its 125-day moving average, which has now turned positively sloped. Macro developments. US Treasury posted an unexpected surplus of $27 billion in June, a sharp turnaround from $316 billion deficit in the month of May. Customs duty collections rose by 301% year on year, showing a strong bump in trade-related receipts. This news comes during the continued optimism for a potential rate cut by the Fed, given the recent soft inflation prints. These macro signals are increasingly supportive of market resilience in short term. A special mention, Roundhill Ball Metaverse ETF. Let us talk about an important chart development beyond the major indices. The Roundhill Ball Metaverse ETF has just broken out all-time highs, completing a long-term rounding bottom pattern. This breakout reflects renewed investor confidence in the metaverse theme, with many believing it will reshape digital interactions, gaming, and remote work ecosystems in this decade and beyond. We'll be tracking this ETF in coming weeks as a potential sector rotation signal. Price action analysis. Now let us move to the charts and analyze S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, and Metaverse ETF, of course. This is the weekly price chart of S&P 500 index. What we can see here is it has given a breakout of this important resistance area, but in the last week, there is a formation of a doji kind of candlestick pattern, which indicates indecisiveness in the market. If you recall, in the last week, we discussed about the prior impulsive wave, and accordingly, using the Fibonacci expansion tool, we projected 61.8% expansion level, which comes at around 6,366. So based on the wave analysis, this could be the potential resistance, which is coinciding with the rising trend line, which is acting as a dynamic resistance. Now, this is the daily price chart of S&P 500, and there is some interesting price action. What we can see during this recent correction, the market structure is now higher highs and higher lows. Look at this trend line. Price has taken resistance here, taken resistance here, taken resistance here. So this is nothing but the neckline of the inverse head and shoulder. This is the left shoulder, this is the head formation, and this is the right shoulder. So considering this kind of structure, This neckline is an intermittent support because the price is given a breakout with a parabolic rise. So we can expect some kind of throwback to test this neckline. At the same time, why this neckline is important? Because it is almost touching EMA 21. This is the area where it formed the gap. So 6028 to 6100. This important zone is a very strong support area or demand zone because little above it the neckline and EMA 21. This is the weekly price chart of Nasdaq 100 index. Now here too some interesting price action can be seen. The only worry is V-shaped recovery. However, it has already given a breakout of this important resistance area, and this breakout has been a very good and healthy breakout because the price consolidated for 2 weeks before it has given a breakout. Now considering this trend line, price has taken resistance. So this trend line is likely to act as a dynamic resistance. But if we project the target based on this chart pattern, the target comes at around 26,000 level. However, it might face some kind of resistance. If you look at the candlestick pattern of the last week, it is a kind of a spinning top, again showing some sign of indecisiveness in the market. Now, this is the daily price chart of Nasdaq 100. Similar kind of price action can be seen here. This trend line is acting as a resistance while it has given a breakout over here. So this trend line can be considered as a neckline of inverse head and shoulder. This is the left shoulder, head kind of formation, and a right shoulder in consolidation and a breakout. And if you look at closely the price action, since past so many days, the price is respecting this neckline. So immediate support is this neckline where the price is currently trading. Here too, we have a gap over here. So this area becomes a good support from 21,871 to 22,000 is a gap area, and little above is this EMA 21, volume weighted moving average 21 period, and this rising trend line, which is nothing but the neckline. At the same time, it has given a breakout of this resistance line. So role will change. It will act as a support. Now, this is the monthly price chart of Roundhill Ball Metaverse ETF. What we can see, there was a all-time high it formed way back in November 2021, which was $17.07. Now, there was a downtrending move. Then the price started recovering and it made a higher highs and higher lows kind of market structure. Now, it has given a breakout of the earlier high which it has made in November 2021. So there is a breakout of a rounding bottom price pattern. Now, if we project the target by using the Fibonacci expansion tool, 61.8% expansion level comes at $25.5 and 100% expansion level comes at 34.8, nearly $35. So there is a strong momentum. Now, this is the daily price chart of Metaverse ETF. What we can see here is this was a very, very strong resistance and price has taken resistance multiple times. Now it has given a breakout over here, and further what we can see, EMA 55 has crossed over SMA 144, and earlier EMA 55 crossed over SMA 200 and SMA 233. So there is a golden cross as well. Conclusion plus what to watch next week. The overall trend remains strongly bullish, but the sentiment is entering in the overheated zone. Watch for any signs of distribution near resistance level. Focus on upcoming macro data, CPI, jobless claims, and new Fed commentary. And don't ignore how sectoral ETFs like Metaverse ETF can act as an early signal of new themes or capital rotation. If you are serious about learning price action, chart patterns, and technical analysis, make sure to explore our Zero to Hero Global Edition playlist on this channel. Learning never stops with DK Sinha.